So now that we've been able to populate some details on that RAID log, we can see at a glance that we have issues buckets for high, medium, and low impact. As a project manager that's making sure that things stay on track, I'm going to put my focus on anything that we've got in this high impact bucket to make sure that we're never missing an opportunity to be able to say, what is it that we need to be focused on? To do that, I'm going to jump back into the RAID log. And just like we saw before, this is easy for us to filter and sort by doing a right click on the column header, heading down to filter, and selecting anything that is a high impact. This will tell us right here that the chip delays is what we should be looking at, as well as being able to do a quick glance at who exactly is owning that and what those next steps should be. Let's say in addition to that, anytime we get past what we have for the initiation phase of a project, if we're into planning or certainly if we're into execution, there should be minimal assumptions that are still assumptions at that stage in the game. Said differently, if you have an assumption, let's make sure that early in that project effort, we're looking to minimize those and change as many as we can from an assumption into an actual decision. So let's take a look at a filtered view of what the assumptions look like so we can take some action on those. In addition, if we had a longer list that we had to scroll through, another good way to do this is to be able to also add a second criteria for active versus inactive and change that to checked. This will just give me the view of any of those items that are meeting both criteria, the second one being only those items that are active. So let's say for this example that Mickey's had a chance to work with Goofy, Goofy's had a chance to follow up with his contact, and we've confirmed that yes, there are no assumptions that we are going to have any sort of hardware changes. I've now marked this with a resolution. I'm going to come over and change the status to resolved. So as far as best practices, I highly encourage anybody who's working on these sorts of projects to be referring to their RAID log on a regular basis. As a standing item within your project team meetings, as well as any other touch points that you might have with faculty, staff, providers, anybody else that you're working with, make it a point to actually bring this up and visually walk through these together to make sure that you're not missing any of those opportunities to have discussions about things that are open and potentially could impact the rest of the project. In conjunction with what we have with the project schedule, the RAID log is going to be really powerful for making sure that we have a clear alignment across all the different groups for what we're trying to accomplish, how we're going to accomplish it, and which are those items that still need some focus and attention for us to be able to get them to a spot that we can truly mark them as resolved.